Oh, I'm gonna have a seat. I'm gonna sit down today. Okay, comments on my page here and social media sometimes are a little weird to read. But honestly, it's part of the game for what I do here online. I got one the other day that honestly kind of got me a little bit worked up. I might not have completely taken it the way that it was meant to be read, but it is what it is. Across Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the things, I got a lot of comments left on my stuff. I did a post on my Instagram a little while ago about some work that I had done that I was pretty stoked on. And in the caption for that, I basically described how I believe everybody should give TIG welding a try. Basically, if somebody had been thinking about getting into TIG welding, to go ahead and go for it. It was something I probably would have appreciated reading when I first started getting going with TIG welding. I thought it was a pretty positive thing to put out there, so I went with it. And honestly, kind of since then, I'd forgotten completely about the post. But somebody dropped a comment on it recently that actually kind of got my attention. And the comment basically said, I've been welding a really long time, and while this picture is really great, most people are not talented enough to do what you do. Now, I realize while on one hand, maybe this was kind of a compliment, but let me explain the reason why it kind of got me worked up. I am not talented. And this is genuinely something that I wish more people would see when they watch my stuff on YouTube or Instagram, whatever. The place that I am at currently in the trade of TIG welding is something that has taken me decades to accomplish. When I started out learning back in like 2002, 2003, I struggled to learn so much. It took me so much longer to learn. I didn't have anybody to teach me when I first started out. I had to do it basically trial by error. I wrecked all kinds of gear. I wasted all kinds of practice material. I got so frustrated trying to learn. I for sure gave up or did give up at least a half a dozen times, but for some reason I kept showing up to practice, and somehow, inevitably, I found a way to keep going. While I didn't have anybody to actually teach me, I had some people kind of to pass on some kind of welding wisdom, if you could call it that. And the general, most common advice that I got from people was just keep practicing. Even though I didn't have really any idea what I was doing while I was practicing, the advice that I was basically following was just work harder. Again, more wasted plate and practice material, more welding supplies, a bunch more frustration. And after a really long and frustrating amount of time, obviously I did get to be at a level of somewhat being comfortable with TIG welding, and eventually at the level where I was at a pretty high skill level with TIG welding. I went to school, I got a bunch of certifications, a bunch of different certificates and training. However, looking back at this whole trajectory that I had to go on, I kind of see a big problem with it. Going back to school, getting a bunch of different certifications, a whole bunch of training. I was finally at a pretty high level where I could do a lot of really nice work on a lot of really high quality projects. However, looking back at the trajectory that I had to learn on, I see many problems with the approach that I took. Now, after telling you a little bit about this, I think you can look back at my history with welding and agree with me that I am not naturally talented at this. I wasn't able to just pick things up with TIG welding and understand it. I had to put in a lot of time by myself and practice. Through a bunch of trial and error and somehow not quitting, I did manage to learn a lot. And now with my YouTube channel and my stuff online, I am lucky enough from thousands of people all the time who want to get into the trade of TIG welding. Whether they've just found it and it's sparked an interest with them, or if they've been into it for a long time, a lot of people hit me up and ask how they can get to a high level of TIG welding as well. And I gotta say, I think my advice to them would be a whole lot different than simply saying, work harder. My advice these days that I pass on to people essentially is work smarter. There should not be any barrier of entry to this trade of TIG welding that involves you practicing for hours, getting frustrated, beating yourself up, wasting practice materials, losing your mind, trying the same thing over and over with hours of frustrating practice. While it may be different from person to person, I firmly stand by the opinion that anybody can learn TIG welding. Honestly, it's just a matter if somebody is going to put in the effort and, in my opinion, stick to a plan. Knowing what I know now, I could have gone back and I could have cut my learning curve in half when I first started. Over the years, I have developed a better understanding and a better way to train and teach people how to TIG weld. And I firmly believe that this has saved thousands of people's time and practice materials. I've taken people with literally no background or any experience in welding at all. These are people who have been doctors, people in finance, software engineers, photographers, cooks, people who literally just found TIG welding, it caught an interest with them, and they decided to give it a try. And then working with them and being able to get them results like these in a matter of weeks was a really awesome experience. Some people take longer than others to get to the point of stuff like you're looking at here now. Some people burn through practice exercises a little quicker than others. But I can confidently say that all of this stuff that you're seeing here has nothing to do with natural talent. Finding a good way to learn that fits somebody individually is a very important thing. I teach people online with my curriculum as well as on YouTube here. This is something that I genuinely wish I had when I first started. It's crazy to think that back when I started, YouTube didn't even exist. But I guess today what I'm here to tell you is that essentially on my YouTube channel, on social media, whatever, what you see from me as far as my work is a result of a really long process. In today's online culture, basically everything that you see with welding is like people's best work. From everything that I see online, not a lot of people are willing to share the stuff that they aren't particularly proud of. And I find that a lot of people have a bit of an unrealistic expectation as far as what they're gonna get out of TIG welding when they first start. A lot of people expect that they just gotta watch a bunch of videos and then get to work and their stuff's gonna look awesome. And when they start to see results that don't look the way that they're basically expecting them to, a lot of people just chalk it up to not having a knack for it or a natural talent for it. It's a combination of not understanding the process that it takes to get results like these ones here, as well as not having a way that works best for them specifically. For some people, going to school may be a best fit. For others, it may be getting a job at a shop or something like that and learning on site from somebody. For some people, it may be buy a program online that you can follow, watch a bunch of videos on YouTube or whatever. I was the kind of person that kind of wanted to learn just simply by chilling out and watching, and then going off on my own and practicing in private. What I am doing, as well as the people that I teach, has nothing to do with natural talent. This is finding something that works best for you and finding something that's going to help you stay on track and make it fun while you are learning. Getting advice from somebody that basically is just like work harder or stuff like you're talented or you're not talented. This is just an old school and outdated way of thinking. In my opinion, is just BS. If you want to learn how to do this, go for it. Get some gear and get some stuff that you can practice with. Be ambitious, set some goals, and think about some really cool projects that you'd like to accomplish with it. Find a way to learn that works best for you and make it fun. And when you find something that's a good fit for you and it becomes fun to learn, I think you're gonna find out and be pleasantly surprised how talented you actually are. This episode is up next. This is a great one for a complete guide on getting going with TIG welding stainless steel. Be sure to check that episode out next. Do a random act of kindness for a stranger today. My name is Dusty. Phil and Shell will talk soon. Peace.